So, we meet. What's up, guys? Old Sun here. Welcome back to another video. And today we've got the biggest, the best, and the coolest locomotive of all time, the Union Pacific Big Boy. And I got 4018 because that's also pretty cool because it's one of the locomotives that was supposed to be restored in 1999. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but at least we got 4014. That's cool enough. But still, I'm happy. Regardless, my favorite locomotive of all time. I'm happy. Let's get it unboxed. Let's get into the video. I've had this locomotive for a while. I've had it since Christmas. I'm doing the video a little bit late. Sorry about that because I think we had a little bit of an issue with it. With the smoke unit. I had an issue with the smoke unit, so now it doesn't work. But I did get one from Broadway, so we won't be able to take a look at the smoke unit. But I will put in a clip of the smoke unit actually working when I got it out the box. So I will include that clip of that. And we will take a look at everything else. Everything else is functional on it, just not the smoke unit. But other than that, we'll take a look at the model in detail. And I'll show you guys I'll show you guys the inside of this most likely. Probably. I think I have a picture of when I took the boiler off to service the smoke unit to see if I could get it working, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. Wouldn't turn over, so I just ordered a new one for free from Broadway. So thank you, Broadway. And yeah. So what you get in the box, you get the locomotive itself, but you also get your warranty card. You registered online with Broadway. It's their new way of doing things. Exploded parts diagram of the locomotive and the tender. You get that nice, beautiful sound box inside of the back of the tender. Your real coal load, by the way, if you didn't know that. And your locomotive diagram. Now, if you do have a problem with your smoke unit, it is part number 31. That is the smoke unit for the Broadway Paragon 3 Big Boys. And then you get your operator's manual, with all your functions and stuff. But, I watched a lot of videos on that, so I'm pretty sure I don't have to worry about that. And then your thing about the UPV steam locomotives like the Challenger, for example. And speaking of Challenger, I ordered an Athens Genesis Challenger. It should be here next Thursday, so yeah. By the time this video is done, which will probably be posted by either today or tomorrow, it is January 5th as of the recording of today, of this video, so yeah. But yeah, it tells you everything you need to know about the whistle and all the CVs and stuff. It also tells you to not put smoke beneath the whistle. I didn't do that. I guess that the unit didn't have enough smoke in it, and smoking fluid in it, and it burned out. That's what I'm guessing. So I'm guessing that's the problem. But regardless, that's not really too big of an issue. I'll just fix that. Sounds good anyway. I like the sound on this engine. And then you get the locomotive here, and it's a block of ice, and its accessories in these bags. Now, like I said, I've took this engine out the box before, so might be able to see there's a front coupler already installed on this, because I like to use the front coupler. I like to have a working front coupler on all my engines. So let's get this out the box and take a look at it. Okay, my battery died. So now we're back and we're gonna take a look at this engine. So what you got is your locomotive in the block of ice, and you open it over on this side. So we're gonna slide it out slowly. Slide it out, and you got side bracing as well. You come with the wrench to take the side rods off to put new traction tires on. You get the smoke hood, and you get the front coupler in this bag, but I put the smoke hood in this bag just for safekeepings. But you get a dummy coupler as well with a little plow piece that goes over it. So get that in there as well, but I'm not really going to use that again, I don't think. So that's just for me, that's just in my preference, because I like to have a working front coupler on all the engines. Just so in case I ever decide to double head, or in case the locomotive ever stalls for some reason, I can couple multiple locomotives up to it to help it back to where it needs to go. Or whenever I go to get into a model railroad club, I'll have a front coupler to double head and other stuff, and maybe do some helper operations. I don't know. I don't think you'll need to do poor operations with this humongous thing, but point is you can if you like. So you open it from the back end near the tender, and you get the piece of resistance wrapped in a flexible plastic to protect it, so it absorbs the moisture and everything. All die cast metal. The tender is also made of die cast. I think the tender might be heavier than my logo. Oh, a little bag slipped over here. And then you get the behemoth itself. You grab it, set it down. Comes with traction tires already on the rear set of drivers. On the rear driver of the both engines, by the way. That's what I meant by a rear set of drivers. I'm sorry if I didn't clarify that. But I just did, so oh well. Everything's clarified now. So now we're just gonna take this flexible plastic and just put it back in here. And yeah, so that's about that. And I'll just do the rest of it off camera, and we'll get into reposition to take a better look at the locomotive. Okay, so we're here with 4018 on my table and on my computer bench because it has a white desk and there is my ring light pointing down to get the best lighting possible. So, to give you some information about the Big Boys, the Big Boys were a class of 25 coal-fired articulated steam locomotives built by Alco in 1941 and 1944. This particular locomotive is UP number 4018, which is a class 4884-1 Big Boy. And what that means is this is part of the first order of Big Boys built in 1941. The first 20 order was for locomotives number 4000 to 4019. And the fifth order in 1944 was locomotives number 4020 to 4024. And those were then also designated as class 4884-2. These are class 4884-1s because 4018 was part of the 4884-1 series. 4018 was built in 1941, and it was retired and it pulled mostly freight in its entire life. And it was retired in 1957. I mean, yeah, it was pulled out of service in 1957 and officially retired in 1962. It was donated to a museum in Texas. I think it was called the American Railroad Museum in Texas, in Dallas, Texas, and now it was candidated to be restored to steam in 1999, but unfortunately that did not happen. But it is in fairly good condition. It resides now at Frisco, Texas, at the American Railroad Museum there, and it is on static display there. It is painted a little bit different from these, and it looks a lot different from what it does in the model. Just a little bit, not really too much. The only difference I can really tell you off the bat, only three differences I can really tell you off the bat is for 4018, when it was built, it obviously looked just like this. Everything is very accurate for when it was just built. The Broadway models are these models as delivered versions. As you can tell with the aftercoolers on the railings right here instead of underneath the pilot, underneath here. The aftercoolers on the railings instead of on the real thing that would be underneath here. They were like this because this is how it was when it was built. However, UP moved them down here because these were susceptible to breakage on the railings. So they were moved down here instead of up here. You can see that on the real 4014 as well. I believe on the real 4014, these are underneath instead of up here. I don't know how it is on the other Big Boys, but I'm pretty sure they're all just like how 4014 has them today. But yeah, that's some information on the real 4018. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the detailing, starting at the pilot. So you've got detailing on the pilot that shows you got a coupler cut lever, which doesn't move, but it is nicely rendered. Looks like it can move, but it doesn't want to do so. You got a KD knuckle coupler and a KD draft gearbox, which is mounted here. Metal coupler, by the way, very, very nice. You got steps on both sides of the plow on the pilot. Yeah, nicely rendered steps. Nice UP 4018 shield right there. That says UP 4018 on the shield. Nice frosted over headlight. Nice detailing around the headlight as well. You had a nice grab iron that goes over the top and sides of the headlight. Two little support pieces for that grab iron on the side, on the back. You got nicely detailed railings right here, and aftercoolers modeled as well. Now we'll take a look. We're on the fireman's side, by the way. So we're going to start on the fireman's side, then we're going to look on the engineer side. Yeah, nicely detailed cylinders. I think these were 25 by 32 inch cylinders. I can't remember exactly. But the big boys did have 68-inch drivers, unlike their challengers. Unlike the challengers, they had 69-inch. You got your feed water heater, which heats, which what this will do. This will take water from the back of the tender. It will flow up here, and what it will do is it will heat the water up from the exhaust from the smoke box, and it will ram the water into the boiler. Is what I'm been told that it will do on the real thing. I believe that this is it right here, unless it's internal or moved somewhere else. But from what I was told, I was told that this was that. So that's that, and then you got your articulation piping, which does move when the one of articulates. So that's cool. Your lead wheels, they are not blackened out, unfortunately, which isn't a big deal. You can always do that with paint, so you don't hold that against a company because they are engaged, from what I've been told as well. You got your metal hand railing going down the length of the boiler. You got nicely detailed washers, valve gear down here. Nicely detailed piping. Nice detailed steam piping going to the rear engine. Nicely detailed air reservoirs with some legible signage. You got your bulge in the casting for your steam pipes to go down. Steam to go down to the steam pipes. And nicely detailed black paint. See-through metal walkways as well. And now we move to the second engine. Get this little pipe here. I believe this is also a blowdown for the boiler as well. I believe that's what that does. I'm not officially sure. I know a lot about the Big Boy, but I don't know exactly what every single thing does. But you know what most of the stuff does, the obvious stuff. You got your washers valve gear modeled on the second engine as well. You see the start with that great garage-sized firebox the Big Boys are known for. Some more piping that is also very well detailed and rendered. You get to see the garage-sized firebox with all the stay-bolt detailing. You get to see the plugs on the side of the firebox as well. The ash pan, which is also nicely rendered. On the 4014 model, this will not be here because that's an oil-burning steam engine now. I'm getting PlayStation notifications. Let me mute that. I'll mute that real quick. Okay. You got nicely detailed piping right here. More piping detail close to the cab. I don't know if you can see that. Let me try to get a bit of a light because it's a little bit dull. I'm sorry for that. There we go. That helps a little bit. I'm using my phone's flashlight. So I'm gonna go back over again just to glance. If you didn't get a better look, I'll go back over. I apologize for the lighting because apparently my ring light is eating all the lighting down here. But you know, here's a better view of the lighting, of the detailing if you didn't see it. So I'll just pan back again. And this isn't a matte color, but it might look a little glossy because probably from fingerprints and smoke fluid. Just rubbing off and leaking probably. When I do get the smoke unit, I will be doing a video of how I'm gonna fix that. So stay tuned for that. Piping, like I said, modeled closely near the cab. The cab windows open on the front of the Big Boy on the front of the cab, on the fireman's side and the engineer side. Move the locomotive. We can get a better look at the cab. The cab windows do also open, if I can get my camera situated. There we go. Yeah, the cab windows also open. So, if with a little screwdriver or a toothpick, for example, you can open the windows. This window also moves, I believe. It should move, I believe. No, it doesn't. Only this window. Alright, well, that's fine. Window moves. Roof vent also opens on the top as well. Let me zoom out. Roof vent also opens. It's a little stiff sometimes, but it does open. There we go. Roof vent opens. Cab interior is very well detailed and very well rendered. To close it, you push down and you push forward very tight, very smooth, very lightly, and push it down. That's how you close it. Back of the cab is also very well rendered. You got rivet detailing and you got grab irons, safety tread on the deck plate. The doors do not open on the Broadway models. However, on the Athens models, they do open. All-weather cab, very well detailed. You got detailing on the injectors down here, piping around your 8-pin connecting tether to the tender, which is also very well done and very strong. I don't think you will ever have a problem with a Broadway tether from if you take care of your locomotives. And you got your drawbar down here, this little slotted thing right here. That's your drawbar. Similar to like what you would see on a Lion O-scale steam engine, which is a pretty nice touch. This locomotive will go around an 18-inch radius curve, which is very surprising because it won't go through my switches. However, it will go through an 18-inch radius curve, which is cool. I don't think it should go there at all, but it's cool that it will go there if it has to. I guess that would be I guess that's fine if you're going through a yard. I guess that would make sense, but I don't think it should go through those curves anyway and stay on 22 and above, because that's what I run all my trains on, is 22-inch radius. Let's take a look at the engineer's side. You get a nice look at the right engineer's side of the washers, valve gear, and the front cylinders. Nicely detailed piping as well. You got a little pipe that goes up here. I think that's an exhaust piece or something. I don't know exactly. More piping as well for the steam. More air reservoirs, as you should see. Also, I forgot to mention the air pumps are underneath here. My bad if I didn't mention that. The air pumps are right here. So there you go. There's two on each. There's one on each side. If I didn't say that, so I apologize. Nice look at the drive gear right here. Your reverse gear for the front engine. One thing I don't really like about this as well. Now, it doesn't really bother me too much, but I don't really like it as well. There's for the track pickup for the second engine. Obviously, it goes from the second engine to the board inside the locomotive and then back to the tether. That's cool and all. However, and they did that well by hiding it, but also it sticks out very well because of the color of the wire. The color of that wire is brown, and you can see it right here. There's a brown wire right here that is very, very close to this wheel. This wheel right here is very close to it. Now, it doesn't touch it, but it is very close, and it is brown, and it sticks out because it's brown, and in the locomotive it's black. It sticks out because of that color. Now, if you really like, you could go through the pain of taking the front engine off, which I'm not going to do, because I am not going to take this locomotive apart, other than just to put the new smoke unit in. Other than that, like I said, I've had no issues with this engine at all, other than just a smoke unit burning out. But other than that, that's just the locomotive not having enough fluid in there to burn smoke, which I guess is a combination of the owner not having any fluid and Broadway not putting enough in there or supplying it with fluid. But I can understand why they don't supply it with fluid anymore. But at least put enough in it to run for a little while, because they put smoke fluid in here and yeah, it worked, but it didn't have enough and it burned out. So oh well. Not the end of the world. We got a new one from Broadway anyway, so that was very nice of them, and that's how what they have really good customer service, so that's good. Yeah, your reverse gear here, which is also very nicely modeled. Yeah, your throttle linkage on the side of the boiler as well, if I didn't mention that. The boiler jacketing, also separately applied. I'm pretty sure that's also made of metal. Very nicely rendered washers, valve gear, as I've shown. Very nicely detailed stable detailing on the firebox. Cab window, like I said, is open on the front of the cab. Cab window's also open. Oh, that window does move, by the way. I'm sorry. It probably just didn't want to move on the fireman's side, but it does move. Cab window's open. Legible signage on the side of the cab. From what I can read and what I do know what it says, it does say 484-1, 4018, obviously clearly rendered, -68, and I think that says 32/25. and 540 NB. I think that's what that's. I know that's what this says, but I think that says 32/25. So I'm pretty sure that's what that says. But yeah, and you got your little wheel for dumping the ash pan. Piping also very rendered and very very detailed trailing truck, which did not skip detailing day. Unlike some trailing trucks, they skip detailing. Just like the Bachmann GS4's trailing truck did not skip detailing. Really, really closely rendered and really well detailed. Now let's take a look at the top, which is this is going to get a little bit shaky because I have to handhold the camera because I can't really get my tripod over here of where I'm sitting to do the detailing. Take a look at the smoke box. You got very nicely detailed detailing on the smoke box. Very detailed metal grab iron on the smoke box door. Operating classification and number boards. Classification lights will light up white and stay white. Number boards come on when you turn on the headlight as well. They stay on when the locomotive is also in reverse, so that's also a nice touch as well. Brass bell. You got your dual smoke unit where you can take this little brace off. There's a brace in there. You lift that off and you put the smoke hood cover on. And in reality, what the real smoke hood cover would do is through tunnels or when the locomotive is in storage, they will put the smoke hood cover over it so that way nothing would fall into the smokestack and will protect it. And what it does is also prevent smoke from spraying everywhere when you're inside of a tunnel, because in reality the real 4000 had a really powerful blast from the smokestack, so you put that hood over it, it would help prevent that from spraying everywhere and damaging the roof of the tunnel. Instead it would shoot out the back. On the real thing as well, none of the big boys had smoke deflectors except for one. And unfortunately that big boy is not around anymore. But that was Union Pacific number 4019. That was the only Union Pacific big boy that had smoke deflectors for a very, very short time. Unfortunately, they were removed because in theory the locomotives had a very powerful stack that would carry the smoke away from the cab anyway. So smoke deflectors were removed, but 4019 was the only big boy to have them. So that was also a cool fact. Also, like I said, throttle linkage is also closely rendered as well, as you see. Very well detailed. Brass whistle, I believe, or brass colored whistle. I don't know if that whistle is actually brass, but that is also very cool. Sand hatches, which are cast in, but also very well detailed. Very detailed steam dome, my bad. There is a screw underneath here for removing the boiler, along with two other screws that remove the boiler underneath the firebox. Safety valve detailing, more sand hatch detailing, very well detailed on the top of the boiler as well. You get to see that dynamo as well. My camera zoomed in. I am so sorry. My bad. One thing you might be able to see is not really too noticeable, but you can notice it if you're paying very very close attention. There is a little mold seam in the casting, but that's not really too big of a deal because you rarely pay attention to the top of the, well, not to the top, but you rarely pay attention to that close to the locomotive anyway. So very unnoticeable, but that just worth of noting. There is a mold seam in the middle, but not really too big of a deal if you're not really looking for it. Unless you're really one of those people who just want to bash the model on that, then there's something wrong with you and you're paying $500 for it. It's going to have a mold seam somewhere. It's not no model's perfect because these things have to be formed and made round. So it's not like a diesel. It's not like that. So it has to be molded and stuff. So, but it's perfect. Is it perfect? No. There is some problems with it, and there are some bad design flaws, I will say. Nothing to keep the smoke from coming underneath the smoke box. One other thing I guess I would say is like it was a little bit difficult to put the front coupler on, but because the screws would not go in. They didn't really tell you what screw goes into what hole, and sometimes the smoke won't come out of the whistle when I blew it. I think that was just because the smoking was starting to die out, but then again, I don't know for sure. That might also be just not having fluid in there, but I'm not going to bash them out on that, so I'm going to give that a pass, because like I said, I don't think it just had any smoke fluid in there, so that's probably Just I don't think that's a model's fault. I just think that was just a lack of fluid. But the really only bad design flaw I could really say with this engine is what like I said, smoke will come out the smoke box for sometimes. That's about it. That's really the only thing I would say. The mold seam, that's not really a design flaw. That's just like a casting thing. A lot of steam engines have that. My 2002 even has it. GS4 has it as well, but it's very unnoticeable though because the paint covers that up very well, so I'm not gonna fault it. But like I said, mold seam, no big deal. But unless you're really, really paying attention to it, you're not. Then if you're unless you're really paying attention to it, then you're not gonna notice it, and you're just gonna notice the amazing detailing on the top. So unless you're really one of those sticklers and want to care about that, then that's about it. That's just your choice. But it's a good model nonetheless. Don't ruin it. Don't bash the model because it has it. That's not the model's fault. That's just because of how tooling is made. Also, I forgot to show is like how the locomotive looks like underneath. That's what it looks like underneath as well. Geared wheel is on the main driver of the locomotive as it should be. And then you got nice brake detailing. That is also very well rendered as well. And very well. That's how the front coupler is assembled as well. Lead truck, trailing truck. And a lot of people don't show this, but there is a switch for turning the smoke fluid on and off. If I can find it. I think it's on this side, yep. There's a switch right there. It'll turn the smoke unit on and off. I have it off right now because I don't want to damage it more than it already is. So yeah, that's that. And then when you pour the when you do get smoke fluid for the locomotive, pour it down the front hole because that is where the fluid will drop down into the smoke unit. You can pour down this one too, but it's more preferred to pour down the front stack. Because that's where it'll drop straight down into the smoke unit that way. So just keep notice. Also, don't put the funnel in there when the locomotive is hot. Put it in before you turn on the locomotive or before you turn on the smoke unit. So that's just also one thing to note. So let's get the locomotive out of the way and set it over here. Put the locomotive here for now. Move it forward so it's not near the edge, not by any chance. Let's take a look at the 25-1-1. Let's just take a look at the tender. I forget what the tender designation was for this. I'm sorry, but yeah. So you got very well detailing here. Very, very nicely detailed ladders here. Yeah, nice rivet detailing on the front of the tender. Got your little drawbar here that connects to the drawbar on the locomotive. Very nicely separately applied metal steps right here. And you got nice detailing on here on the front for the coal doors. I think that says 54,000 pounds. And nicely detailed pieces right here. I don't know exactly what this part does, but you got nicely detailed metal railings here. Nicely detailed cast-in toolboxes. Nicely detailed brake rigging on the B truck on the front of the tender. Nicely detailed axle bearings and piping on the side of the centipede portion of the tender. Union Pacific crisping lettered on the side. Rivet detailing, which is also noticeable. You can feel them. They're not as apparent as what they would be on other big boys, I don't think. But it is very nicely done because it's all die cast. And that also gives it a nice good weight and good tracking through all those switches that you might go through. Tender deck, also metal, which is prototypically correct. The real 4000s had metal deck tenders. I believe they were delivered with wood deck tenders, but then Union Pacific converted them to metal deck tenders because I think the wood would cause breakage and it just wouldn't hold up, I don't believe. So I think they switched it to metal deck tenders, which is prototypically correct because I don't think a wood deck on a modern articulate like this would work very well. So a metal deck was a lot more sufficient, and it was because it looks cooler and more detailing with a metal deck than a wooden deck. You had nice detailed hatches, which I have treading all on top of them, with the handles as well, and hinges, which are also cast into it. They do not open, but they are very well detailed. You had a toolbox right here, a real coal load in the back of Jesus Christ, a real coal load in the coal section of the tender. I can't speak today. Bill display, I believe that is legible with a magnifying glass. I don't know for sure. Haven't tested. Nicely detailed metal ladders. UP4018 closely rendered on the back. Frosted overhead light. Conduits going to the marker lights, which are cast in. This light does not work. On the Athens Challenger that I'm getting, this should work. And I will be doing a video on that in next week. It should be here next week. Off topic. Classification lights that do work. They're red on the back and green on the side, so that's also a nice touch. I believe that says 25,000 gallons of water. Jesus Christ. KD metal coupler. A coupler cut lever that does work. I believe it should work. It moves. I believe it will swing up and down, but I'm not going to test it. You got an air hose right here, and you got this little piece right here, which I don't know exactly what this does, but you do have that there as well. You got some grab irons that are cast in, and you got nicely detailed ladders like I've said before. More detailed railing right here. Also a signature for the Big Boy and Challenger tenders. You got to stop sliding it around. Let me pick it up. And you got nicely detailed railings on the top right here. And just an overall nice tender. The tender by itself just looks incredible. I believe, like I said, I believe the tender itself weighs more than my Elko Mogul from Bachmann. Which if it does, that's a shocker for a tender of this size. I would not be surprised if it did. And it's just so cool looking. And it's just so amazing. I'm just so happy to own this model because I've been trying to get this model for over close to 5 or 7 years, and I finally got it, and I'm very happy. I'm very satisfied. Like, I could not be more happy. Like, I originally was going to get the MTH one, but then I saw a big shipping crate under the box, and I was like, ooh, I know exactly what that is. And then I opened it, and I saw Broadway Limited on the end, and I was so happy because I knew exactly what locomotive it was. And I'm happy I have it. Very glad I have it. Very sufficient for what I want. I'm very happy with what I want. I may think about getting the Rolling Thunder thing. Probably not. If I do get it, I want to get like a couple more Broadway engines. And yeah. So let's get it connected, and let's get on the layout. Actually, I'm gonna show you the inside of the locomotive first. I'm not gonna show you the tender because I don't want to go through the pain of opening the tender. But I might show you the inside of the locomotive. I might, like I said, I might have a picture. So if I'd have a picture, and if I can find it, I'll just take a picture and show you that instead of opening the locomotive right now, because I don't really want to open it, but I might have a picture somewhere. So let's go ahead and try to look for that. Okay, so we're here on the track, and I do have locomotive on and connected. It's not the easiest thing to put on the track, but it is good enough to put on. So yeah, but we're gonna turn the track power on. I'm gonna mute my mogul, and there it goes. It's starting up. It's moving. Now, one thing, I'm running this on an easy command system, which is this piece of junk right here. This will make it move by itself sometimes, so which I don't really like, and I really want to change it. So we're only limited to 10 functions, so we're going to turn on the lights now. And there's the lights. Very, very nicely done. Operating class lights, operating number boards, operating headlight, and operating cab light, as you can see in the back left corner. It has Rule 17 lighting, which turns on, which brightens up when it moves forward or backward. And cab light does turn off when it stops moving. When it starts moving, and it turns on when it stops. It does have momentum built in, and there's a lot of it, which is pretty cool. I do like that. Also very well detailed, as you see with its running and the lights in combination. And yeah, so let's go ahead and listen to the sounds. Now, like I said, we're only limited to 10 functions. I will say this beforehand, we're not going to do F9, because F9 on easy command does not do anything. And I've only got it to work like once, but it does not really want to work on this system, which is fine. I'm gonna probably try to find a digitrack somewhere eventually, so that's just worth noting. But we won't be able to do extended startup and shutdown. But we will be able to take a look at set 6 other functions. We won't be like I said, F8 we won't look at really too much because all that does is mute. I just pressed F8 right now and it mutes the locomotive, so it's quiet right now. But one thing that's cool with Broadway is if you want a specific sound effect, like a whistle, you can blow the whistle when it's stopped, and obviously when it's stopped, but you can blow the whistle while it's muted. Same for the bell, you can ring the bell while it's muted. So that's also pretty cool. I'm gonna turn the sound back on. So here we go with like 6 of the sounds that we do have at least. So we got F1, which is bell. I accidentally hit with the whistle button. F2 is the whistle. On certain systems, it depends on how long it's hold. If you click F2 once, it'll play the whistle completely. So, yeah. So let's listen to the whistle. Again, we're gonna do a grade crossing sequence. And there's also another way to do the whistle, but it involves me having to spam the F2 button, so we're going to try to do that now real quick. So that's that whistle that you can get with me spamming the F2 button on this system, which is pretty cool. I guess that quills it a bit, since I can't really quill on this system, but, you know, it's something. F3 is coupler slack, but it only works when you move, so we're going to move the locomotive. That's coupler slack. So that's that. F4 is the air pumps. That just turned it off. F4 turns it off and turns it on. And there it goes, it just went off. F5 is blow down when stop. It's like a blow down and steam release, I guess. F6, I believe it is the auger, mixed with also, it sounds like the water, the locomotive being filled up with water in the tender. So we're gonna play that. Yeah, that's the sound of the tender being filled with water. That's what that is. Yep, there you go. That's the tender being filled with water. So number 6 is the tender being filled with water. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. I'm gonna move it. It's very, very smooth. So that's another cool thing I like about it as well. You get to see those class lights on the back of the tender, which are also very well done. Okay, my power just cut out on the track, which is a bit annoying. There we go, though. I don't have a Go Pack, but this locomotive will accept Go Pack by... You can tell if it accepts Go Pack by saying on the box. Also, locomotives with a Revision H board. So, and like I said, this is a first for me for many things. It's a first for a lot of things. I'll explain that later on in the end of the video, but yeah. Yeah, my track isn't very perfect, as you can tell, but yeah. Had a minor derailment. Yeah, it has a centipede tender, just so you know, it will derail on certain parts of your track if you're not careful. Especially if your track's not up to spec. Run a big articulator with a centipede tender over it. It'll tell you if your track is terrible or not. I've already know my track's terrible, so I don't even have to worry. Some Bachman locomotives are telling me for me. yeah, this locomotive is very well done and very well detailed. It runs really, really well, very, very smooth. It also has a cylinder cock effect as well, so when the locomotive has been sitting for a little bit, it will play the sound of the cylinder cocks opening and closing, and it will show that as the locomotive begins to move. I don't think it'll play right now, but I'll show it once we take a look at it moving in a second. So let's see if it'll do it now. We'll let it sit for a little bit and see what it does. But like I said, also the cab light will turn off when the locomotive starts moving, so that's another cool feature. Like I said, smoke will come out of the whistle, but like I said, don't have the smoke unit working, so can't really take a look at that today, unfortunately. But I will include a clip at the end of the video with it working, along with some pictures of the locomotive shell off. So I will show you what the inside of the locomotive looks like. I have some pictures of that. I'll show you what it looks like. And then, yeah. And also the locomotive will just froth smoke as well, which is also pretty cool when it's sitting here. Kind of gives it the effect of the blower in action, but I don't know for sure. Because I haven't really had much to use the smoke, have much chance to really use the smoke unit, but, you know, it is what it is. Alright, it's been sitting for a little bit, so let's see. Most Broadway locomotives, Big Boys, just before we move it, will come with the drivers in sync. They're out of sync to my model when I got it, so that's pretty cool. So I guess that's pretty rare from Broadway. But let's take a look at the locomotive moving. So we'll see if it plays a cylinder cock effect. There we go. Can't really do the forward or reverse single like toots really with this. It's not really as easy with this system, but you can still do them. It's not as easy though. Oh, a little spark. And that's another thing with these Bachmann switches. It does not like big articulators like these. So like I said, locomotive will go through my switch. However, it does not like going through it in reverse, but will go through the switch. But yeah. So this, I think we coupled up to the train now. Now let's see. Let's move it forward. Yep, coupled up. And like I said, this locomotive will pull a 100-car long train with no problem, because you know, die-cast metal weight, die-cast chassis, die-cast everything, along with the metal tender and metal couplers. You'll pull anything you can think of. But I think that's about it I can say at the moment. So we're gonna run it around the track. We're gonna run the Mogul on the inside track, and we're gonna run the Big Boy on the outside track, obviously. I may include some running with 40 for 49 at the front. We'll see. But other than that, we're gonna run the locomotives around for a little bit, and I hope you enjoy it. And I'll see you at the end of the video and give you my final thoughts. So let's run these around for the layout and see what you think. Alright, so I guess that concludes the review of the Broadway Limited 4018 Big Boy. I'm really happy to own this model, and it's definitely my favorite. I am very happy to have it, and I will be pleased to see what else Broadway does in the future. Maybe they do the FEF3 finally, because that's another engine that I'm looking to get as well. Now that I got the Big Boy, my Challenger is almost here, and it was on the way. And I got my GS4 too, so now I just need the FEF3, and now I'm very happy with it. I'm very pleased with it. It checked out perfectly through everything. Does very well on everything I needed to do. Cost wise, it is obviously very expensive at I think $749 MSRP. You may be able to get lucky by finding this for around $570 or $540. I got mine from AutoTrainStuff.com. That's where I got mine. Because I found it there for a little bit cheaper than what Train would had it for. I think it was cheaper at Trainsmasters, but I think I found it for much cheaper there. Either way, besides the point, I'm very happy to have it. Very cool engine. Very happy to own it. One of my favorites. My most favorite locomotive of all time. And I'm very happy to own this locomotive as well. And it's definitely my favorite. I love this engine with a passion, and it's just icing on the cake for me. I'm really happy that I have this. Like, no one understands how happy I am to have this engine. But I love this engine with a passion. I'm happy to own it. I'm glad I have it. And it's just very special to me. So thank you for watching. I will leave you guys until next Thursday. I will see you guys then, and I'll see you guys when I get in the Challenger, and I will be doing an unboxing video with that as well, and review. So I'll see you guys then. Peace out, guys.